Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Courageous Exchanges. I'm Alex.
I'm Joy.
And today we thought that it'd be a great idea to spend some time talking a little bit about how we came to Courageous Exchanges and what the name means and more about like why we've chosen to take on this special project.
Yes, and part of this has come from some feedback that we have received of just wanting more clarity. And there's nothing wrong with being clarity. I was going to say nothing wrong with being clarity, Lord.
Wrong with being clear.
Yes, we're being clear and clarifying things, just so that we're all on the same page.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, it took us a while. We were bouncing around a little bit around like what exactly it is that we wanted to name this project, and what each of the parts of the name would be and what they would actually mean to us. And ultimately, we wanted to be sure that we conveyed authenticity and the importance of having authentic relationships and conversations or exchanges.
Right.
With other people.
Right. And our thought was, again, these are the conversations that we just kind of have every day through text, when we meet up. One of the things that pre-pandemic and pre-me living in New York or pre-me living in Georgia, child, when I tell you, it's been a rough morning. So the words are forming as we're doing this. But one of the things that was really cool about our friendship is that every week we had some type of a check-in. We used to call it the posted check-in because so many things happen in a week, and it was always very important for us. And part of what I consider one of my self-care routines is going and meeting up and really being able to like unpack the week and talk about the things. And at the time I was in therapy, so it wasn't like unpacking it for a therapeutic purpose, but more so a way to connect with my friend, a way to be able to have these vulnerable and authentic conversations. Because, sometimes I feel like we're just out here living and trying to figure shit out as we go along. So it was really nice to be able to have that space. And so we want to be able to, again, have these conversations in a more public forum so that you also feel comfortable talking about these things, whether it's within your community or getting the thoughts out of your head. Because a lot of times we live in our head, we have these thoughts and feelings, and we're like, am I bugging? Am I crazy? Is it just me? And so hopefully being able to connect with us in a way that lets you say like, oh, I'm not the only one. Because there's so much comfort in knowing you're not the only one in sharing stories.
Absolutely. And it's also so powerful to understand that we have connections to each other and that so many of our experiences are shared experiences with other people in our community.
Yes.
I think that's something that really makes our exchanges so special is the level of vulnerability that we've grown to be able to show. I am not someone who comes from being super vulnerable, but that's something that I've learned from being friends with Joy is like, and I appreciate so much her ability to be vulnerable, and I feel like that's truly courageous. And I knew that when we were thinking about what we wanted to name this project, courage had to be a part of that name, or like we had to be able to capture the spirit of vulnerability that we think is so important to having courageous and authentic exchanges. And vulnerability, I think, is a key element of that. And I think that was like a common thread that was a part of all of our weekly check-ins. That ability to really be able to like share what you're actually feeling without being concerned about being judged or shunned or shamed or anything like that. So that's a big part of what we do and why many of our conversations have the tone that they do too.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things we were thinking about is like, well, what is courageous about being a podcaster? As I mentioned before, I had a podcast for about 5 years. It's called the Joy Social Work Podcast. And one of the big differences in this space than there is there's a visual aspect. When I started the Joy of Social Work, it was strongly encouraged by my friend Christine, shout out to Christine, who like brought that podcast to life. And we talked about visuals. And I feel like at that time, a lot of podcasts didn't have visuals, but we talked about it, and I was like, I absolutely don't want anybody to see me because, one, I was in like this really weird space with grief, but also I wanted there to be a level of like, when it first started, I didn't necessarily want people to, I wasn't doing it for people to listen. So I never really thought people would listen. So they didn't even know who I was.
Yeah.
Even like marketing and talking about it was something that was very different. Like it was like podcast episode came out and I never talked about it again for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because one of the things when you put yourself out there is you do receive criticism or critique or feedback. People are not always nice on the internet, and I didn't want to put myself in a space then where I wanted to be victim to being bullied or someone saying something I didn't like, and I'm in this very raw, vulnerable space of losing my partner, and now someone's like, your hair isn't done, and I'm like, oh my God. So in being able to have this part of this podcast now is very different for me, and I'm in a different space of like, I don't really care what people think about me. And I don't think it's not caring. It doesn't affect me the same way because I know who I am. I'm sure about who I am. So if you don't like me, cool. Does it take anything away from my life? No. So again, it's less about caring. It's more about it doesn't impact me the way that it used to when people would give me negative feedback or critique.
Yeah. And I think back to that time, too, when the Joy of Social Work was actively, putting episodes out. And the fact that I was a guest on there. So, a lot. And for me, also, was kind of very much tied to the anonymous guest. I never wanted my name shared. Yeah. I was very clear about just, wanting to come on and speak about things that we always spoke about. Yeah. Right? Maybe that was the beginnings of Courageous Exchanges, but under the cover of anonymity. It was really important and safe for me to be able to have that space. And essentially what you're saying is that was important for you too.
Yeah.
And so now to be committing to put this out and have the visual aspect of it is truly courageous for both of us. For me, again, I went from just having the audio component and not wanting my name to be shared to now having this visual, and now folks can match the voice with the face and the name and all of that. And that is sometimes, scary. Brings up feelings for me too. I remember even when we were going through the process of putting out the first few episodes, really understanding what it means to have members of my family and friends and all of that hear me speak in a different way and about topics that maybe they've never heard me share my thoughts about. And so that was scary and vulnerable for me and brought up a lot of feelings.
And apparently I just stare at you which I do feel like I do, because I'm also very proud of you for doing this, because I know this is outside of your normal comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Which is another thing is putting out this and like I said, when we started, I'm struggling with words, because sometimes when you're doing something by yourself, it's a DIY project, there's not a studio, there's not a team, things don't always work the first time. And it's trying, and it can get frustrating. And then when we push record for real, I'm I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about, because we've just been playing with mics and shit for hours. So, even that, I want to try to put it out raw and real versus it being a highlight reel or being this super put together podcast. And I'm not saying that that's not the goal, and I'm not saying you should put it out janky shit either. Mm-hmm. But there's always growth. We could say, we're investing thousands of dollars into a podcast, but do we even want to do that? You know what I'm saying? Do we even like it enough? Can we just? Is this going to be something that goes on for a long time? And I think we're trying to figure it out as we go. And so it's not, there's a producer right there making sure sound and lighting is good. It's bitch, can you see?
There's no one here, guys. It's just us.
It's just us. I am fucking IT, yo. And I have the MSW.
All of it. There has been so many feelings that have come up, even with just putting together an episode, right? Doing the setup and all of that. And it's truly a passion project for us right now. And I love what you said, Joy, about we don't know where this is going, but I'm so proud of the fact that we have courageously stepped into this new space and sharing conversations that we've been having anyway, and we're going to continue to have. But yeah, this isn't the highlight reel. This isn't the super polished and put together. Shout out to all the polished and put together podcasts. But quite honestly, we are every day figuring out exactly like where this is going, what we want it to look like, what we want to convey, why we're making the decisions that we're making. And we've been pretty intentional about this being a process of growth, and really welcoming y'all to be a part of this and watching us grow, because we truly believe that that's a courageous exchange in itself.
I agree 100%. You know, another thing that this whole experience brings up, and one of the things that my brother Yemi pointed out, shout out to Yemi. Yemi is our third co-host, and also like on the side producer. Like, shout out to Yemi. But Yemi was like, you know, I'm really proud of y'all for doing it, because a lot of ideas die with the person. There's so many things that I want. I'm gonna speak from that I thought about doing, or I want to still do. And I know that there's things people will think about from a professional aspect of a therapist, and my clients saying things that they want to do, but whether it's their mindset or their belief that it can't happen or it's not going to be good, so it stops them. Or just in my everyday life with my friends and family, it's like, I can't do that. What are people going to say? We put these barriers and blocks on ourselves. So stepping out and doing something and not letting your ideas die in your head or in a notebook or wherever they go is a huge deal, and it's very courageous. Whether it goes anywhere past this or not, you know, whether we become podcasters full time, please God, because I don't want to go to work no more. And not my
it's when you stop and talk to God. I don't know, it just does something.
But God knows every day when I have to leave my house and it's dark outside, I'm sad. God. So, you know, or this is just a thing that we do as friends, and we put it on the internet and people enjoy it or whatever, and then that's the end of it. That's also fine too. But I think about like my parents. Both my parents died in their 60s. My mom was 61, my dad was 66. And I've been thinking about, if I only have 20 more years on this earth, what the fuck do I want to do? Like, what is the life that I want to live? What do I want to accomplish? Where do I want to go? Who do I want to be? You know, who do I want to be? And so I really want to live every day like the time is fucking ticking. And so even moving to Georgia was a thing. My parents always talked about moving back to the South. They're from South Carolina. We're going to move back. And they kept on moving back. When I finished high school, when I finished college. And they never did it. So, like, do the things, because your life might be short. Your life might be long. I have an aunt who died a few months ago, a few days before her 100th birthday. She was also ready to go because she felt like she had done all the things. I don't want to get to that day and be like, damn, I really should have said or did that thing. I really should have applied for that job. I really should have gone on that trip. So do the things. Don't get stuck.
It's so true, because I feel like there's so many people that I know that have ideas or have dreams that go unfulfilled. And they just, what is it? A dream deferred. They just keep on pushing that dream off, or they keep on telling themselves that they can't do it because they got too many bills, or they have, you know, too many other responsibilities, or, you know, whatever it is. And I just always, especially now at this point in my life, like I've become very in tune with that. And when I'm having those conversations with people, I always am like trying to tell them, no, just do it. Just do it scared. And I think that's something that has come through a lot as we have taken on this project. It's like, yes, we're scared. Yes, we're unsure. We're tired. We're frustrated. We're stressed. But I couldn't imagine not taking the risk. I couldn't imagine like kind of walking around for another year or 2, 3 and just kind of being like, oh man, well, remember that idea we had and never did it because we didn't have, you know, X amount of dollars to pay somebody, or, you know, whatever.
Again, you don't got to do something janky, but you don't have to do it perfect.
And there's so much beauty in the process of growing and getting better.
Because it's not then the highlight, it's the journey.
Exactly. And no one wants to hear the story about how everything went perfectly all of the time. The good stories are the ones where there were a few hiccups here or there. There was a flaw. There was, something unexpected that happened. And the shit didn't work. And, those are the stories that get told over and over and over again. Not the ones with, everything went perfectly the entire time.
Yeah, and I think, social media put such this, emphasis on, I woke up a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did it.
Yeah.
And hopefully I get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful that there is a journey that people can see and track and know, the struggle is. So I'm just very grateful for this space and this opportunity. And thank y'all for listening and supporting so far. We're really grateful for it.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of great feedback from folks. I will say mostly a lot of support, just from folks being able to connect with what we're saying or, laugh about something that we shared, which we think is a lot of fun. Because that's what this was. We wanted to create a space for the community to come in, make connections, and hopefully inspire people to have some of these conversations at home too, or in whatever your supportive circle is.
Yeah. So one of the things that we want to challenge you with and charge you with, and something that I think I want us to do as well, is to think about what would you do if there were no boundaries or restrictions. If you could truly say, I have this goal, I have this idea, I have this thought, and I'm going to bring this thing to life, what is that? And I went to a conference, I went to the Black Girls in Social Work conference, shout out to Piqua and her crew. And there was a woman in one of my sessions, I presented this. There was a woman in one of my sessions. I will tag her Instagram because I meant to do that and forgot to give it to you. But she talked about the no paparazzi era, where you pick a goal, you don't tell anybody about it, and you work on that. And if people say hey, I know this, you can say, well, it's something I'm working on, but you don't tell anybody. You pick a time frame, you pick what it is, and you do it. Because nobody has to hold you accountable but you. And so I want us to do that as well. Pick a thing that we're going to do, and then maybe in a few months check in and see how we've done with it. And I want you to do the same thing too, because you do yourself a disservice by not living out your dreams. No one hurts but you.
That's so true. It's so true. And I love the idea of the no paparazzi era, because we've gotten to this time where everybody feels the need to share everything on social media. And there's something very special about having a personal goal that you smash on your own, and accept the praise as it comes in. Yeah. But ultimately, this is something between you. Yeah.
You become your cheerleader. Mm-hmm. You become your number one fan, because the reality of all of this shit is you are your longest relationship. You are the only person that came into this world and will leave this world with you.
So true. So true. And you should be able to recognize yourself when you accomplish big things and celebrate yourself and be kindly to yourself. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So whatever it is, whether it's I want to lose 20 pounds, I want to get up every day by 6 o'clock, I want to go to bed, I want to read a book, whatever it is, do it. And then celebrate yourself each step of the way, and then celebrate when you accomplish your goal.
We look forward to hearing how things are going.
Yeah, I was going to say let us know what they are, but that's not the point. But when you do it, let us know. Come back to this video, or send us an email, or shoot us a DM at Courageous Exchanges or courageousexchanges@gmail.com, and just let us know, I did it. I've accomplished my goal. Or let us know, I'm doing it. So we know, to cheer you on. No, never mind.
You still got to figure it out. But you can still just say, hey, I took your ideas and,
we don't know who it is.
But don't tell us your idea. Just say, I'm working on cheering for myself.
Yes.
No you can do hashtag no paparazzi era.
Yes. Because even if your goal is to just be kinder to yourself, that's a huge deal. It makes a world of a difference. So be kind to yourself. Yeah.
Yes. Please. You deserve it. Remember to live a courageous and authentic life. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.